Hello, beautiful Aglow community. So this is a first class that we're going to do just to kind of get started in Aglow yoga. And our focus is going to be therapeutic yoga. So everything that is included in yoga, which we do breath work, we do movement, postures, working the physical body, working the mental body, working the emotional body, working the spiritual body, embodying some self energy, and just bringing in healing at all levels. So, as therapeutic yoga is trauma informed, and to me, what that simply means is that it's an invitation to do or not do anything that I present, right? In any class, right? Or in any work that we do together, there's no forcing. And so that you also work with your system to not force yourself. Yoga should feel good, right? So we can sometimes go out of our comfort zone, but there's like an intuitive sense that as we do that, this is good for us. And so I want to really work with that intuitive body. And today I want to work on like what is nourishing. So we have a theme of like what is actually nourishing. And some of us may not know, like honestly and frankly, like what is nourishing to us, and others of us do. We have a hard time maybe connecting with it. And some days when we're really busy or we're not able to connect to it. And others of us might really have a lot of nourishing practices. I know at this time in my life, I do have a greater sense of what is nourishing to me. And I have a lot of nourishing practices, maybe even more than sometimes I need, because just being human and doing the work I do as a healer, as a therapist, as a counselor, as a trainer, right? It can take a lot out of me. The weather, it's extremely hot right now. These things can just take a lot out of us. And so what is actually nourishing? And it changes day to day. So in that, everything's an invitation to you. If it doesn't feel good, I want you to notice it doesn't feel good. Even name that for yourself, and you can consciously and mindfully move out of it. You can do something else. Like if you do start to follow your intuition, you might be like, well, Stacy's moving in this direction. It's not feeling good to me. I'm going to consciously move in another direction, or I'm going to watch for a moment, or I'm going to go into child's pose for a moment, or what feels good to me. I also want to bring in the invitation, because remember, I am a trauma therapist, right? The invitation that if something feels uncomfortable, it might be opening some energy that you may or may not be ready to be with. But I want you to consciously recognize and know what it is for yourself. And even if you pause this or you take a moment and you're like, hey, whenever I move into this pose, I feel really exposed. I feel really uncomfortable, or whatever that is. And I want you to notice I'm empowered to not go into it or to move out of it, but I'm also empowered to know and to check in with myself, maybe when this is done or this is over, to know, is it something I would like to build the capacity to be with? Right. So it's not just a shutting down, like, nope, I'm not doing that. Right. Like these, of course, parts of us will go into these reactions to protect us. So it makes complete sense. And you can honor that part of you and say, hey, you're right. I'm not going to go into that today. It doesn't feel good to me right now. I don't feel ready for that. However, as part of your yoga, right? And really, when you look at what is yoga, it's about being able to be conscious, more evolved, more with ourselves. It may be, I wonder why I have such a strong reaction to that. And you might know, like you might tie it in and go, oh, well, I know it's because I was traumatized in this way. Or you might not know. You might be puzzled about it. And both are common. They're both just human reactions, by the way, totally normal. I've had both. But would it be good for me to build that capacity in order to be with it so that I can eventually heal whatever that is? Right. So if I have a certain area of my body or a certain pose that's really uncomfortable, could I build that capacity? Because that's actually what yoga is. I've been doing yoga since I was 20, 21, 20 or 21, and I'm 50. And in my early years, I thought it was about perfecting these poses, doing that. And I've had, of course, I got injured. I've had everything and happened since then, right? So through the decades, it's really shifted. It's not about that. It's about expanding your energy. It's about bringing in more vitality. It's about healing the charges and the unresolved things that are held in our body and our energy systems. That's what it's about. So the movement, everything we do is for that. So enough of talking too much, right? But let's just start with that. So today is nourishment and consciousness, and just bringing that in. So like I'm sitting on a bolster, and you can pause at any time. That's one of the beautiful aspects of this. Get something comfortable. We're nourishing ourselves. Like I have a bolster right here. You could have a pillow, a bolster, whatever that is. And I'm sitting closer so I can be a little closer to you, but I can kind of come back here too. And just find your seat. And take a moment. I know in yoga it's like, oh, just hold that pose or just sit there or move fast or no, just move. This is your body. This is your energy. Like take a moment to just find what feels good to you. Find your seat. No rush. If you have restlessness, like move your body, right? So many of us have anxieties as humans, ADD, ADHD, things like that. Like there is no shame. Just move in a way that feels good. Find a seat. Find your breath. There you go. I kind of got my fidgets out. And you may not, and that's okay too, right? All is welcome. All parts of you are welcome in this practice. Everything's just an invitation. So I first just want to start just being conscious of your breath. Just notice your breath. You can close your eyes, you can soften them, you can keep them open. There's no right or wrong. Just notice your breath. You can notice beautiful coral back here. Oh, look at that. Look at that breath. Ah, beautiful breath, Coral. She's my little yogi here. Now, you may want to take some breaths in through your nose. You can do it through your mouth, but just notice the inhalation coming in through the nose or the mouth, and then out through the nose or out through the mouth. Now we may take a moment and we want to bring in some nourishment. So maybe we start to notice inhaling in the belly, and we'll come back a little bit so you can see me. Yes, I hit poor Coral. She likes to sit right on my mat, right? So it's like just noticing it fill the belly, the solar plexus, and maybe even into your heart center, and just filling up. And then exhaling out. Filling up. Exhaling out. Filling up. Exhaling out. Filling up. Nourishment. Exhale out. Release. Nourishment. Release. And you can use your mouth or your nose or a little bit of both. I'm doing a little bit of both. Nourishment. Release. Nourishment. Release. Let's do a couple more. At your pace, again, no right or wrong. Nourishment. Release. If you want to start using your arms, feel free. Nourishment. Release. I'm going to come back a little bit more on the mat again for you. I'll raise my voice. Hopefully you can hear me well. Nourishment. Release. Invitation to just start moving your body intuitively. For me, it's the end of my work day, so I've got a lot of kinks from the day. For you, you may be starting your day, you may be ending your day, it might be right in the middle. But just start kind of moving your body. If you want to stay nourished, right? If you want any blocks or blankets or bolsters, pillows, and again, anytime, like I said, you can pause this. And I would rather you did that is pause it, go get something if you end up needing it at any time during this. But just start swaying maybe back and forth from hip to hip, side body to side body, shoulder to shoulder, and just start kind of moving your body. These are just like the starts and the start invitation of ways that we'll move. Oh yeah, that just felt good. I just something kind of moved in my back. Maybe even over to the side. And you're just starting out, so don't go like your furthest place. Just breathe back those parts of you if possible. And we're going to start with some Sufi grinds. They're just some circles. So we're circling, and you can go smaller, right? You can see I'm really circling. If you're not used to this, you might kind of start out first like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's totally fine. It becomes a rhythm. And it's just practice, right? Everything is just practice. And then you can go to wider circles. A lot of times when we're doing this is called like Kriya. We move really fast, but I invite you to move more consciously with the intent that we're going to nourish. So if that feels nourishing to go a little faster or even a little slower than me, please do. I'm going to stay pretty embodied with this right now. And just moving in whichever direction you went to intuitively first is the right direction. And as you start to move it, you really do actually work a lot of your abdomen. Your spine, I feel like, oh, my lower back, I've been working through some stuff in my spine, so this is really great for your spine. Your breath. Inhaling, exhale. It's like washing machine, washing us out, cleaning us through, right? Really great for your spine, your organs, your breath, your digestion. And then let's just go the opposite way. Just being conscious of any transitions you're making, the way that it feels. Oh yeah, I just moved something again in my back. See, it's just like from working and being on the computer. This is so good just to move your body. So nourishing. Your breath. Just notice the way it's making you feel, your body. Just come into center. You may even just kind of rub your legs, start awakening your legs. They do so much for us. Maybe your arms. Maybe even just intent to kind of send some of that energy out. Tensions. Breath. Let's invite some neck circles. Be careful with your cervical spine. Move really slow. And also, you can do half circle, right? Totally fine. Or if it feels better, just side to side or a whole circle. So just again, an invitation, but be really conscious as you're doing this. And this moves a lot of energy, regardless of which variation you're doing or how far you're going. If you want to move your eyes with it, you can, or you can close your eyes, or you can soften your eyes, whatever feels good to you. I have a lot of neck issues, and I had to go from being, being able to do most of all this yoga to starting all over because of neck injuries and issues. And it humbled me so much to have to go all the way back to the beginning and start over. And let me tell you, this is something every day my body needs. Really, I try to do this most every day. Just your breath, your awareness. And as you noticed, I went to the other side. So you can change the other side if you haven't already. Just breathing. And again, go slower, go half, or even if you're not doing that, you may just try it, see what it feels like. Even if it's really small movements, right? Just opening that throat chakra. And now, so if you're sitting in a seated position, you may want to grab your legs, and we're gonna do like a spine. So this is kind of like cat and cow, except for that you're sitting. And again, if you can be, I'm still in my bolster. So if that feels good to you, you don't have to either. You can be on your bolster and here, back a little more. So you can see, I just have a cross-legged, very simple cross-legged position. If you want to switch to kind of make it more even, you can switch sides. And you just start doing your spinal movement and your breath. Really consciously moving that spine, nourishing. I'm going to add my jaw and move some of that energy and tension. So good for the shoulders, the spine, the abs, the abdomen, your jaw, if you're adding that. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, and then we're gonna do some shoulders. So just almost even tighten your shoulders up towards your ears. As we're always saying, bring them down. I want you to bring them up and then just let them relax. Up, release, up, release, up, release, up, release. Just at your pace. You could also do one at a time. Up, release, up, release, up, release, up, release. And then just around. So much tension often goes in our shoulders, our necks, our jaws, even our chests, and then forward. Yeah, beautiful. You may want to shake it out a little bit, shake off the energy. Big breath. Okay, if you still do have the bolster, you can move the bolster out of the way. And staying in the seated position for a moment, let's just move the side bodies. So like we did earlier, but you're gonna take your palm of your hand, move that out, shoulder back. So we just did all this shoulder stuff, kind of move your shoulder back. Rise up through the other, and you can stay here. So you can look like this. If you have neck, you can bring your neck down here or up. And if you want to extend, then you can bend the elbow, or you can keep it straight and out. Shoulder back, side body long. We're bringing our hip down and our side body. I'm doing this to my right, but whatever side you're doing it on is beautiful. Whatever side you ended up, if you mirrored me on the same side, that's okay. We'll get the other side too. So you can intuitively move in your direction, just using your breath. If you want to add a little dynamic movement, this is so good for me. I get so tight through here. So I like to add a little movement, or even turning my head different directions, but do so consciously. Make sure that this feels okay to you. If you want to sit just in that position, hold it, feel free. So it's an invitation. Good. Just kind of notice your energy where you're at now. Breath before we come to the other side. If you want to switch, just to kind of even out, you can switch your feet. Just or whatever the opposite foot out in front. And let's just move to the other side. So again, we extend our arm out. And really, anytime you want to use props, I love props. Props are great. So you could use that. You could use this, like even more nourishing, right? Whatever feels good to you. So I'm going to use a block this time, and you extend your arm out, shoulder back, and you start to extend your opposite arm up. And again, you can go here. You can start to bring it over. You can look up to the side. You can bend this, or if you want to stretch it out more, that feels good right there. So see, if you play a little bit, sometimes you can really find like this right here with the block, juicy, really juicy for me, opening through here. So again, remember, your body is different than mine. Find what works for you. Use your breath, stay conscious, shoulders back, heart open, breath conscious and flowing or moving. If you can't, if you go too far and you fall out of the breath, bring yourself back, find the position, and just go back into your breath. If you want to do that dynamic movement, use your breath. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that feels good. Let's stand up. And in any time as well, if you want to use a chair, I've been using this a lot too. So again, we're nourishing. So you want to bring a chair or any kind of props, grab those, bring those with you. Just find a way up to standing. I'm just going to adjust this here a little bit. There we go. Okay. So find your mountain pose. Anchor your feet into the ground. And let's work a little bit of that shoulder. So as we bring our hands back behind, right? So you have different locks. And remember, you can get, if this is too much for you, you can grab your strap or a blanket or something like that too, and put that behind you. And if not, bring your hands together. So you can keep them open like this. They're both really juicy. Or you can bring your palms together more like this. Again, or you can hold a strap. Or you can just even put your hands behind. I'm doing my feet about hip distance apart. I like lots of room. I like lots of juiciness. So now bring the shoulders back. Head up, neck back a little bit without straining though. Release and relax through the eyes, and then slowly start to come forward. Bend in the knees, four corners of the feet down to the earth, shoulders back, and breathe. You can turn your head as if you're saying yes, 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 no, 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 and really feel that too. Yes, 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 no, no, no. Embodying that for yourself. Extend your hips up towards the ceiling without buckling your knees. Keep a small bend in the knees. Breathing. And before we come out, let's extend the arms, bring them forward and down. And you could drop them into ragdoll, holding elbow to elbow, or bring your hands on the ground to support you. And really even call in the energy of the earth up through the soles of your feet, your hands, release through the neck, and just do a couple of those shoulder rolls. Oh yeah, crunchy crunch. Yeah, this is so good. Move your body. If you want to put like as your chest comes to your legs, you could bend your knees more or extend them out more, hips towards the ceiling, or even move a little bit that way with your breath. As we bend, extend, bend, extend. And then come up halfway. If you want to use blocks here, again, nice and juicy, nourishing yourself, come up halfway. So long spine, release to the neck. Maybe you move that. Feet grounded into the floor. You may even come up on your tiptoes. This is such a beautiful way to feel this. And then feet back down. Four corners of the feet. Ooh, just felt that through my hamstrings, right? Really great, really great. You can do that again. Tiptoes. Back down, exhale. Looking up, long back, a little bit of a bend in the knees. So I still have a little bit of a bend here. So my feet are hips width apart. You can bring them closer if that really feels good to you, or you have a lot of flexibility. I like lots of juiciness. A little bit of bend in the knees. I'm grabbing my blocks. Long back. Extend. Now let's bring ourselves up. And back to mountain. Standing pose. Now we're going to do a couple of these just standing. Inhale, up. Look to your hands. If your palms don't touch, no worries. If they do, you can bring them together. Exhale, down to your sides. In those four corners of the feet anchored. Up. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. And on this exhale, start to come forward. And we forward bend, nice and slow, conscious. Extend. And now let's take our feet. Let's take our right foot forward, our left foot back. So we're going to come into lunge, crescent lunge. I love to use the blocks. So you can see I have blocks here. That is my favorite. But you don't have to, that's up to you, right? So if we're in high, and of course you can always come down low. I'm gonna first really get into this. My body really loves this. So if you're already there and you want to do static, you can breathe. For me, I love to move a little bit. And you know, the old adage really was that you can't bring your knee forward, and that's not really true. But if you have knee problems, you really want to be conscious of what you're doing at any time. Do that. But there's actually this range of motion that can be so helpful. And then we're going to extend a pyramid using our breath. Just moving. And coming back to that crescent, you can bring your knee down if that feels better to you, or if you want to keep it up. I'm going to leave that up to you and what feels good for your body today. Every day it can be different. And we're going to use that strength. So you're going to anchor in and you're going to use that power as you anchor in your thighs. The energy of your inside thighs come together and you lift up, slightly down, bringing your front up and center. And if that feels good to you, your arms up. And then you breathe. This is a lot of work, right? And you keep moving in to the position. A little more, dropping in, shoulders down and back, neck long, and then coming forward. Exhale that air out, come down, dropping your knee. Beautiful. So we have like a low lunge. If you want to move it out to the side and that feels better for your body, move it out to the side. In yin, they call this gecko. I love that. Gecko pose. Using your breath. If your feet come out, that's okay. That's the thing is, it's okay. Let's work our bodies in the way it feels good. So if your feet come a little bit more forward, halfway, or even out, just notice. Work with it. You can even play around with that a little bit. Move the feet. Yeah. Beautiful. Now find where it feels for your foot. What feels really good and juicy and nourishing for you. And you can either stay here. So I have my blocks. I love that, right? Or you can come down. I'm going to come down onto my blocks. You can come onto the floor, the blocks, or you can stay up. It's not better or worse. It's just, where do you want to go? What feels good to you? What can your body do today or not do? In your breath. If you want to extend out a little further, you can do that too. So one of my arms is here. Extend this out, extend your arm. If you can grab that back foot, feel welcome to do that. And really extend out. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to be doing any of this. You could be doing all of this. You can see I like a lot of dynamic movement, especially this time of day for me, to move the energies. If you like more static, be more static. Release. Just slowly coming back to center. Back to your low lunge. And let's just kind of sit forward as much as you can. It may be that you come here. It may be that you come here, or you want to sit on a block, come onto a block. It may be that you have to sit up, or you can come forward, but some kind of runner's lunge. And your breath, just feeling that. If you want to move your foot up, down, right? Long spine, shoulders back, face relaxed. That's often one of the most important things is face relaxed. Good, and then coming back, a little lunge. You want to move to high lunge. And then downward dog. I'm going to do downward dog on my blocks. Let me just get that a little better view for you. I am loving this lately. So you can feel free to use blocks or not use blocks. You can have your hands down. But I've been loving the freedom of this. I'm going to do kind of a wide. So my feet are wider. Again, nourishing. This is very nourishing for me. So find where your feet and then my hands, you can also move them out to the side if you have a lot of tightness. So they can kind of, your hands can go forward, out to help open. And then really gently move those shoulders. There's a lot of tension. A lot of us Westerners, if you're a Westerner especially, have a lot of tension in our shoulders. And so downward dog for me caused, the first however many years actually caused me to get tighter. So what I like to do is move it through and really kind of open my shoulders as much as I can. And then I spread them. And then I come more forward, right? And using something like the blocks can help kind of open so that the space here isn't so tight. And you can feel here too, feel it, right? So coming forward, moving, and then back. I mean, that has just really helped me tremendously, actually. And I've been doing that a lot the last just couple years. Now, if you want to bend your knees, bend your knees. And then kind of roll your shoulders. Using your breath. Good, we've probably gotten at least those 5 breaths here, just doing this, right? Now walk the dog. If you need more, actually, I wouldn't recommend doing when I'm doing this because that's too much, right? But this, or it's too unstable, I should say. And I don't want you in an unstable position. This. Or if you really want to work your shoulders. So let's come down. Let's really work the shoulders. Puppy dog pose is such a beautiful one. This is one of my favorite poses, actually. So again, use blocks or don't, that's up to you. But on my knees, I do have them about hip width apart. Feet down. And then instead of child's pose, where you're coming all the way back, in this one, I'm going to step back a little bit. We're coming like this, right? So my chest is then going towards the floor and my back is starting to relax into that. But through my arms, so my shoulders start to actually open up. There we go, right? And you can put something there if you don't come down. Now I am flexible enough, I can bring my forehead down, and that feels really good and juicy. You could have a block here as well, right? Or a pillow or your bolster. So please do that if you need that. For some, you may even come to your chin. I mean, I'm gonna go right to my forehead. This feels so good. I'm gonna move just a little bit, and then I'm gonna really just work those shoulders, opening, and use my breath. And through that, I'm gonna let the back of my heart melt. And then I noticed I still had some tension in my feet. So I'm gonna just move my knees a little bit forward, this a little bit forward, and then I'm gonna relax my feet. So I'm scanning, I'm tracking my body to see if there's tension, and if there is tension, where can I maybe work with it? Maybe can I release it a little bit? Can I relax it? Can I send breath? Can I send compassion? And if there's pain, then move out, right? We don't want pain, but just bring it through. And so just slowly coming back up. Breath, consciousness, and back to downward dog. Walking the dog. And then just walking slowly, or if you want to jump, you can jump back to forward fold. If you want to just ragdoll, knees a little bent. Use your breath. Oh, there I go. I just melted some more. Sometimes just staying here, you can really feel that and move into it. And I just melted like some more. I could feel the tension just start to release from my body, my mind. And then let's just go up slowly, consciously, rolling up. And then shoulders up and back. And now let's do a little bit of a back bend. So standing back bend, just nourishing, opening up through the heart center, bringing in a lot of energy and juiciness. So I'm going to do again for myself this hip distance apart feet. You find that place for you. And where you feel more stable, you want some stabilization. So you're bringing into those feet, stabilizing. And we'll do the side body like we did earlier. And then we're gonna do an opening, like to that kind of opening, back bend, heart opening. Bring in some of that love, compassion, receiving, nurturing energy, nourishing ourselves, right? So we find that we anchor in. We can put, so I'm gonna use my right arm first to go to this side, to go really to my left side and bring my right arm up. But if you want to do the other side first, please do that. And so my left arm, this arm comes down first. Shoulder comes up and back. And then my arm starts to extend up. And I feel my length coming through my body and up. Right now, I'm kind of just looking in between, and I'm bringing this back and this up. And I pull up like a zipper. Here, I have strength in my legs. I'm using my breath, and I roll this shoulder down and back. And then I start to move more to the side. Right? Stay here if you need to. Don't roll out of this, roll into it. Up, over. And if you can keep coming, you keep doing that with your breath. If you can look up, you look up. Okay? Really making sure though that there's not a lot of tension in your neck. Oh, yes, I just felt a release. So see the consciousness I brought to this? I felt just this release go through, and my neck actually just moved in this really beautiful way. And then back to center. We'll do it one more time on the side too, so we really get this feeling for it. So the first round, I'm walking you through more, right? So again, now if you're on the opposite side, if you're on the same side as me, your right arm, if it's the other arm, that's fine. But shoulder back, extend down, legs, parallel hips, legs into the earth, bring that back. Bring up your opposite arm, shoulder back. And now I'm gonna zip her up. So I am using the strength here of my front body. And then once I have that, and I relax my jaw, my eyes, then I start to come in, I can look up. Again, look at that, beautiful. Just reset, just had a chiropractic adjustment. This is amazing, right? Using your breath. You can come like kind of in and out as you breathe, just as far as you can. And out. Oh, yes, that felt amazing. Okay. Now we're going to do back, and then we're going to do it again with less instruction. So, okay. So we're going to do kind of the cactus arms because we really want that juiciness again and that openness that we're working through here. So legs planted in without rigidity. It's not like clenching up. It's the strength. Bring up the earth energy through the soles. It's a little bend in your knees. Stability through the hips. And then we open. And I don't really care if it looks like this, if it looks like this, if it looks like this for you. What feels good? Arms, shoulders open, neck long. That feels really good to me right now today. Fingers extended. Now, so for the lower back, again, we're going to zipper. So we bring in some of this, whether you feel like you have strength here or not, imagine the strength from your core. And then that relaxes your lower back. And then you start to go back. Now, neck long. Breath. Breathe. It's not how far you go. If you've lost your breath, come back. Come back out. And just slowly but go back in. Right there, I start getting tension in my neck. So I'm going to release, come back a little bit more. Oh, right there, there's the juice. Breathe. So when I went back a little, I can do it. So my spine is actually really flexible from years of yoga. But when I go back too far, I get tension that starts to come here, which is a problem for me, a very problem area. I don't want that. So again, by staying conscious, I notice that and I bring myself back out, because as soon as I get that tension and that starts coming in, my nervous system is signaled threat, threat, threat. And it starts to shoot off signals in my body that we don't want, the stress signals, the stress cortisol, the stress, right? And so when I used to earlier, I would do yoga, I would push myself and be like, well, I can do this. My nervous system didn't know that I was safe. And I was actually creating anxiety in my body, stress and tension in my body. The whole purpose of yoga is to release that, right? So that's just such a beautiful example using my own body that, yeah, I can go way back. I can go quite a bit back now, you know, right? But when I do, and I start feeling this edge off, my nervous system is starting to respond. So I have to come back and go, no, it's okay. I'm safe. And my body goes, oh, okay, you're safe. And I release the tension. So those are the kind of things I want you to notice, that this is therapeutic yoga, right? We are working in a therapeutic way for our mind, our emotions. We can move out trauma and not override the trauma of our body, not override the intelligence of our body. So let's come back, anchor your feet. If you want to kind of move side to side, just feel that. Or if you want to shake anything out, shake it all out from that. We're going to do it again. I'm going to do less instruction this time. You're just going to feel. But if you feel like I said that you're going into some tension, I want you to back out, come back and find that place that you can go to the edge with, and then before you hit that level of tension. Okay. Okay. So side body, or shoulder back, and side, and just breathe, kind of coming in and out. Staying conscious with your body. And release. Up, 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 up. Beautiful. I'm going to do the other side. Um, Okay, the back bend. Find your place. Find your juicy spot. Use your breath. Bring the energy down. Back to mountain. Star pose. Just come out a little bit wider. Arms out. I like to move my hips. We can always use those hips, right? We did those hip circles in the beginning. Try the hip circles standing from star pose. Just move that energy like a belly dancer. Maybe not exactly like a belly dancer, but you know, and just move. I'm doing kind of a few on each side. Whatever feels good to you, switch sides. Okay, now bring your feet wider, like about like with the width of your hands, 4 feet, or what feels good to you. We're going to go into the forward fold again with our legs out, right? So as we do this, you find what's comfortable for you. You have more stability coming a little closer together, extending out more, right? So that just depends for you where you're at. There's not a right or wrong. The back of your feet are coming just slightly, so your feet are pigeon toeing in slightly, just slightly, right, to a point that feels good to you. Anchor into the ground, and then we're going to put our hands on the back of our hips, our sacrum here, okay? I put my hands down like this and on the sacrum, but you could certainly put on the side as well. Again, working your body, shoulders, let's do that. Shoulders, and we're sending signals to the shoulders and the neck. It's okay, relax. Jaw, release the energy. Back, and then back into that back bend slightly again. Using your breath. And then we're going to go forward. If you want to put your hands on your hips, long spine, long neck, nice and slow. I know it takes a lot of strength, right? Even holding this here and down. If you want, you can grab your props and you can come to whatever on your props. So if you want them on the high, low, or if you want to come to the floor, if you're more flexible, that's fine. And just slowly, really paying attention to that lower back, because we want to send that intentionality to the lower back, like you're fine. You can relax, bend the knees, bring the hips up with the bent knees, and that gives all this space for the lower back. Coming down. And putting your hands either on the blocks, on the floor. Long spine as long as you can. And breathe. If there's a variation you know and you want to do, you can do that. Otherwise, just keep your hands either on the blocks or the floor and just work your spine. Use your breath. Feel your breath come in through your feet, up through your legs, into your core, down the spine and out the head. And just imagine that as you breathe, bringing that earth energy up through the soles. Imagine it coming in through the legs, up to your core. If you know what Mula Bandha is, you can do Mula Bandha here. If not, don't worry. And down your spine and out the top of your head. So inhale it all the way up the legs to the core. Exhale out the spine, out the top of the head. And let's go back to that nourishment. Nourish. Inhale up. Release. Exhale. Nourish. Release. Nourish. Release. You may find that you're finding more flexibility. If that's true, you can adjust. Let's do 2 more. Nourish. Release. Nourish. Release. Coming back to your blocks or your hands and going halfway up like we did in the standing. Long spine, using your breath. Do a couple of those shoulder rolls. Yeah, my right one has some crunchiness there. Just working that out. Lots of love, nourishment, breath. And then kind of keep here, and then walk your hands in a little bit. And we're going to actually extend. So we're going to come into a side lunge if that feels okay to you. So I really do like using my blocks with this, right? And so I come into the side lunge and then my foot comes obviously coming to that side. So it was turned forward. I have to turn that back side to the foot. It can come up or on the mat. And just breathing. Now my foot does not come down here. For some of you, your foot might come down, and that's fine either way. Mine does not. So no worries, as yours doesn't either. And then we're just gonna slowly go to the other side. So just go nice and slow. And you just turn the feet. So now on this side, right, this is my right foot turns out, and I move over to this side, into the side lunge. And I move my foot up and down if that feels good to you, just breathing. Lots of hip, right? Lots of legs. And then one more on the other side. Just taking your time, adjusting. Again, we're not trying to build tension, just trying to move it, right? Move it. Breath. Oh, it feels good on my toes too, because my toes are really stretching. My feet. It's good for your circulation. And then one more on this side. Not an easy pose. So if any of these you need to build up to, that's okay too, right? You can always stay in star or front forward fold, and then coming back to your half position here from your forward fold, but your half position. And then if you can move your hands back to your hips, long spine. I know I'm looking at you, but really elongate through your spine and your neck. And then coming back up. Shoulders back and down. And then we're just gonna start moving the feet towards each other, coming back to standing mountain pose. On your toes, down, back, shake it up. Okay, we're gonna come to the floor. Yeah, really beautiful. Okay, so we're going to do, let's see here. What is best here? I want you to be able to see me. There we go. We're gonna do that. Still learning, figuring that out, right? Okay, there we go. It's good. So for this, for many of us, and remember, this is nourishing, so even if you don't need to, you might want to use a blanket or pillow or your bolster, whatever that is. I have two really thin kind of, there are actually two in here because it's actually pretty thin, but these yoga ones, and I'm gonna sit on that. I don't always have to, but again, we're really nourishing our body and it feels just really good. So you sit up on that like a prop, and then you extend your legs out, right? Maybe your legs extend here, maybe they extend wide, whatever that is. But you get on this so you can see. Now I'm sitting on this, so it allows, look at that, it allows my pelvis, look at that, to move forward. So now just look at it without it. So I can still move it forward because I do have that flexibility, right? And if you don't, and you're like this, you need to have the blanket because that is just not good for us, right? But look at the ease of it. Oh, look at that, just beautiful. It's like, right? Okay, so use, or if you wanted to use your other props, whatever it is. So then you get that. So you have this rolling forward, and look at, see, it rolls my legs forward, it gives me a lot more space and room. And so no matter where you're at, like I said, just come to that, kind of, move that. Notice that in your tailbone, right? Wherever you are. Now, so the first thing is we're going to actually move to the side. So I'm moving towards my left. That's just intuitively where I was going. I really am a big fan of intuition. So whichever side you intuitively go to, that's fine if it's your left. You may want to, if you need to, kind of untuck. There you go. The buttocks, like move them, right? Again, giving yourself that range of motion. And this may be difficult for you. And this is really juicy too if you want to use props. Love that. Love that. You can use props. You can use blocks. You could use blocks here for your hands. That's really, really great, right? And you just start to come to the side as far as you can, right? You're going to get limitation here. That's just the nature of it, right? So you just go as far as you can, stretch. In fact, this kind of does feel good, as much as you can. Keep your spine long as far as you can, and then you can just relax and you can actually round the spine some. But you want to do long and then, right? Because we're not torquing, we're not pulling, we're just coming to, right? And so we kind of come to the side. If you feel torquing, it's too much, lay off. You feel pain, lay off, right? This is about really, and it's just these range of motions, right? You're not going to get more because you're like jarring yourself. So it's like this range of motion. This is Tiger. Hello, Tiger. Tiger says hi to everybody. Yeah, so you just kind of get that, right? And then we're gonna go to the side because we've been doing the side movement, right? And we might use our block again. Oh, nice, right? And we come like this, with our block. We could come here. Open this, open this. This is really beautiful, right? If you want to make it easier, softer. So we go back to that position we were doing from before. Arm up, and then to the side, right? So of course, if we want to do the full pose, we come inside here, grab the foot and around, and we go to it feels good. So see, I can grab my foot. It feels like torquey for me though. This feels so much juicier because I open up here, right? Even here. So good. And then here I love it because I can actually extend my neck. Look at that. I can actually pull up my neck and stretch my neck at the same time. Oh, amazing. So just find what works for you. Come on. Oh, that feels good. So juicy on my neck. And now we're going to go the other side. So again, we're just kind of turning towards, and this too, I can feel right here. I got some stuckness, like some tightness. So again, I don't want to just push past that. I want to respect it, breathe into it, and just come to where it still feels good for me. Oh, look at that. And I got so much more movement out of just being compassionate with myself. My breath. Than if I would have just forced it and pushed past that. Just breathe wherever you're at. Again, you can use your props, bring yourself up. And slowly coming out of that, and we're going to go to our side again. You can use your props, whatever feels juicy. I really, really like this. I'm going to do this. If you want to do the full extension, it's up to you, wherever you're at today, right? I really like this. I'm going to hold my neck. Oh, I love that. I just made space right here for my neck. And then I'm holding it. It's like, I'm supporting you. I'm supporting you, honey. Right? And then this goes back, right? Arm up. And breathe. And again, long body, right? I'm keeping this hip down. I'm working the length here. And I'm breathing. And the cat is joining me. Hi, Tiger. He thinks these props are his bed, so which they are, right? Hmm. What are you doing, silly? Okay. This side. And now we're gonna try coming forward. This could be very tricky for some people. You may not have a lot. You can stay right here, right? Use your blocks or whatever. Let's come back onto this. I came off a little bit. So props me up, gets me ready. This can be enough right here, right? I mean, and again, you might be more in here, that's fine. Just wherever you're at, you might feel enough just here. For those that can do more, of course, you could lay this down. You could also put it on your blocks, give you space. You can put your blocks at whatever level. You could also put your block, if you can come down more and then bring like, say, your forehead. But notice that here's where you're moving from, is you are moving from your hips, right? So it's like a movement forward. So whether you're here, long breathing, if you're able from them, right, to move down. I have quite a bit of flexibility here, but I don't go like flat on the floor. But I have quite a bit. So for me, I really like putting the block right here, but there is no right or wrong. Just see where you can find that place where you can hold it and just breathe. And if you're sitting up, that's fine. And just breathe. This also may be very vulnerable for many of you. So again, if that's the case or it doesn't feel good, you can always do butterfly. And again, you could be here. You can put, maybe your knees don't come down. So my knees, I'm actually really, really flexible here. So even being back on the mat kind of does it, but I can bring them down. But for many of us, that is not. I have tightness other places. So you can always bring or anything here for your butterfly. And then if you're able, you can come forward. You don't have to. You can also just stay. If that's too vulnerable, you can always do a forward fold with your, right? You're still getting like so much from this, even just extending and starting to move forward. Okay, so you have options. You can always play with these. This one, obviously, you're going to get a lot of stretch through here, right? But there's different ways to move and just breathe. Wherever you're at, just breathing. And when you're ready, you come back to your seated position where we started in the beginning. And just so we've actually done quite a bit. We did the side body, we did some heart opening, we did some forward folding. We even did a little bit of a twist with moving to the side and really working those angles. So we've actually done a lot of practice. So I want you just to take a couple breaths. Again, come back to that conscious breathing. Noticing your breath. Maybe even put your hand on your heart or one hand on your belly and one on your heart and just breathing. I'm going to come a little closer to be more connected with you again. And let's just go back to that breath, nourishing and releasing. So I want you to imagine you're inhaling, bringing it into your belly, into your midsection, into your heart. And then just exhaling it out. You can use mouth, nose, whatever feels right to you. We're going to do it again, and that's this time with the inhale, nourishing. Exhale, release. nourishing, releasing, nourishing, releasing, nourishing, release, nourishing. And let's all release together out the mouth. Let's do two more. Inhale. Beautiful. And an invitation to lie down, to find a space in Shavasana or corpse pose. Just lying down on your back, finding your comfort. Just imagine letting it all go. Let the practice go, let your day go or your worries go, even just for a moment if you can. Even if just for one split second, if you can. Let your parts, just ask them if they'll give you just a little space for a moment, that you love and you appreciate all these parts of you and how hard they work for you. But if they'll just give you one little space, just a moment of space. And if not, that's okay too, right? And just take a moment, relax and just stay here as long as you're able, as long as you can, as long as you're able. Just be with yourself, be with your parts. I'm going to end it for today, but you do what feels good to you and take all the time you can for yourself and your nourishment with so much love. Namaste.